I almost quit everything yesterday. Almost just gave up yesterday because I just got
Good.
too. I swear to God, I was exhausted, overwhelmed, and I'm like, I can't do this. It's just, here's what I'm finding. The topic of grief is so broad, and everybody's responses, everybody wants something different. And
Right.
I found that I was trying to please everybody.
Hmm.
I can't do that. I can't. And I'm wondering that, I'm a quick start, Joey. I just finished Atlas and I'm launching my group program. Um, I know I have to nail my niche down a little bit more, or nail.
Right.
The other thing that I'm finding is people that I'm talking to, they're not in crisis.
Right.
They're just like, yeah, yeah, it's, I'm living with this. I'm like, okay. So that's what was frustrating yesterday. Um, because I've worked so hard on this. But this morning I got clarity because I just prayed and I surrendered, and I got the clarity that, like, what my genius work is helping them get connected. Like, that's what it is. I just feel like I need to start over again. I do.
I'm proud of you. This is the process, and you have to go through this process. Everybody has to go through it. And this is why when I sell things or Atlas, I say you're not going to get the result that you want usually when you go through once and maybe even twice. That's a hard thing for me to say, but it's the truth. And you're finding it out right now, right? And like, okay, but this is a process and you're not willing to give up yet. And that's why you're a dream client. That's why you're in the tribe. So you will slip down into the valley of despair. That's where you are, like, shit, I'm giving up. So I'm proud of you. I'm going to give you the same advice that I was given years ago. You're allowed to mope. Okay. When I was given that advice, I'm like, holy shit, I don't have to be a superhero. I can want to quit. But if we live there, that's a different story, which you're not living there. And you can do 2 or 3 days of moping or whatever you want to call it. So I'm very proud of you. That's the first thing. And so, yes, now you're finding out that you cannot handle all of those things, even though at the beginning you thought you could. And it's not that you can't have those conversations with people. You can still go anywhere and have a conversation about grief and all that, but that's not who you target. Same thing as when I'm saying I can speak to beginners who are starting their online business and everything. But if I try to help them, it's going to frustrate me because they are not in this crisis or they're too distracted. And all the things that I've learned in the painful process of getting to who is my dream client. And it's the dream client, and I've told you this again and again, who is in that major dip, major hole, financially, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, or physically, all of those four, and who's not ready to give up. That's the person. Like
Mm,
I'm so clear about who the person is, and I know them, and they know who they are too. Does that make sense? So you're on the right track.
thank you. I'll tell you what surprised me more than anything, because I've done this for so long, Joey, and my business is all built on referral, repeat, and I'm just surprised that I hit this snag, because I thought it was going to be like, I have a pretty big following, and I just was like, I can't figure this out. It's just too much. And I remember I told you in the beginning, I didn't know if I should focus on women who lost a child. I
Yep.
actually love them. I love them to pieces. And I feel like I feel like they might be my people.
You will thank yourself for going through this process. And Anne said something brilliant. Look at how you feel when you're speaking to people. Do they drain your batteries, or are you super passionate? Do you get emotional about it? Like all that stuff. That's going to tell you who you want to work with. And the other thing that I want to bring up that I want everyone to hear is that our expertise gets in the way. Like your expertise clouds your judgment, whether you know it or not. And I know that because you said a couple of times, and again, I'm not pointing fingers at you. I'm just saying generally, when it's like I've done this for so long and I'm so frustrated because we think we know, but we don't. So we have to bow down to our own ego. As soon as I bow down to my ego, because there's a difference between being smart and being wise. There's a true difference. You're smart about the thing that you do. And when someone's smart, and I'm just pointing fingers at me because this is how I used to be. I'm smart. I know all that. Like, you don't tell me how to do that. I know that already. But being wise is knowing that you don't know enough and you're always looking. So you know a lot, you're smart enough, but you're wise enough to say, I don't know it all. And so when I understood that, that's when my life changed. And that's when I started doing Atlas, which is what I'm trying to show everybody else. That's why I say in the slides, your expertise can get in the way because you have blind spots. And as soon as you have those blind spots, you're not willing to go to the market to say, tell me more. I don't understand this, even though you think you know you're smart enough. And again, I'm only pointing my fingers at myself here, and maybe it'll resonate with some of you because that was the opening piece. I'm always curious. Remember, I always say ABC, always be curious. I'm constantly curious about the market. Tell me something I don't know. There's something that I'm missing. What is it? Is that cool, Sandy?
It is, yeah. And the other piece that came up for me was, um, and this is just the way, this is just my heart because I move fast and I'm probably an overachiever. But I remember one of the podcasts or one of the lives that you had done, and you would talk to somebody who their first launch they did this, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna beat that. And
Yeah.
so it's a humbling walk that I'm in right now. But I'm having some good results, just today. So
You
I'm
will
happy.
be happy because when you look back, I know because I'm like you, I'm that fast starter. And I'm so glad that I did not do certain things like I'm going to start running ads. I'm going to start doing this. I'm so glad that I slowed myself down and said, no, slow down. See, like in our case, because we're fast starters, fast is good. Speed of implementation is a superpower. However, there's a couple of points where speed will kill us. And this is one of them. This is one of them. It's like, I got it. And then you go out and you do it. And then you're like, nah, damn it. And then you want to just quit.
Yep.
So follow my lead. Thank you.
No, thank you. I had an amazing week. I now have 4 students in my group that starts on June 19th, and I've got a bunch of calls lined up. So I have no worries about that. But here's the interesting part. I'm signing up more private coaching clients now with the
Amazing.
same process of serving, not selling. I am almost at my quarter goal financially in this, like in this last 10
Wow.
days.